Lewis Hamilton left Spa with a 5-second penalty, a collision that ended George Russell's race, a Ferrari mechanic struck during a chaotic pit stop, and a 45-point gap to Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Then he finally spoke about Ferrari, and instead of attacking the team, he praised its engine progress. But one phrase changed the meaning of everything. Hamilton said Ferrari had taken only one step forward, not the whole step. Behind that calm message was a brutal warning about repeated mistakes, disappearing title hopes, and a team that cannot afford another chaotic weekend. Subscribe to the channel. Before Hamilton's calm response can be understood, the chaos surrounding it has to be separated from the message itself. Because Spa was not one isolated bad moment. It was the latest warning in a pattern that had been building for weeks. Ferrari had found more performance. Hamilton had moved into second place in the championship. The engine appeared to be improving. Yet almost every positive development was being followed by another mistake, another penalty, or another moment of confusion. That contradiction is the real reason Hamilton's words carried so much weight. He was not speaking after a clean race where Ferrari simply lacked speed. He was speaking after a weekend where the team had enough pace to influence the fight at the front, but still created problems that had nothing to do with raw performance. And for a driver chasing an 8th world championship, that is far more frustrating than simply being slow. A slow car gives everyone one clear target: find more speed, improve the aerodynamics, strengthen the engine, create more grip. But a competitive car with inconsistent execution creates a different problem. The speed is already there. The opportunities already exist. The team simply fails to convert them cleanly. That is what Ferrari appeared to be doing at Spa. The weekend began with a procedural mistake before the race had even taken shape. After the first practice session, Ferrari electronically returned 2 sets of dry weather tires. But the physical tires were not delivered back to the official supplier before the next session began. The team was fined €10,000, 5,000 for Hamilton's car, 5,000 for Charles Leclerc's. This breach did not make the Ferrari faster. It did not create an illegal performance advantage. It did not change qualifying. But it mattered because it revealed something deeper. Formula One teams operate through thousands of tiny procedures. Tires must be returned at the correct time. Components must be recorded correctly. Cars must be released safely. Data must be submitted accurately. Every small process supports the larger performance. Most of these tasks never become visible because elite teams complete them perfectly. When one fails, it may cost only money. When several fail, they begin to expose a pattern. And Ferrari could not afford that pattern. The team was already under pressure after Austria and Britain. Hamilton had spoken openly about Ferrari's loss of performance at the Red Bull Ring. Then at Silverstone, he said his magic had disappeared. That phrase sounded emotional because it described more than a slow lap. It described a loss of connection. Hamilton believed his front wing setup had not been optimized as effectively as Leclerc's. That matters because the front wing helps determine how confidently the car turns into a corner. Imagine opening a heavy door. When the hinges respond properly, the movement feels natural. You push and the door follows. But when one hinge resists, you begin forcing the movement. You hesitate. You make corrections. And every correction costs time. That is what an uncertain front end can feel like to a Formula One driver. The car may still be fast. The driver may still complete the corner. But the confidence required to attack the limit begins to disappear. Hamilton's comment about losing his magic was not an admission that his ability had vanished. It was a warning that the car was not giving him the platform needed to express that ability. And this created an uncomfortable comparison inside Ferrari. Leclerc appeared more comfortable with his setup. Hamilton appeared to be searching. The two drivers shared the same basic car, but their confidence did not look equal. From outside the team, people saw one driver extracting more performance. Inside the garage, the difference may have come from small setup choices, tire preparation, aerodynamic balance, or the way each driver needed the front of the car to respond. That is why Hamilton's move to Ferrari was always going to demand patience. A driver does not simply change teams and instantly feel at home. The steering weight changes. The braking behavior changes. The engine response changes. The communication changes. Even the way the team describes a problem can be different. Hamilton spent years learning how Mercedes operated. He understood the language. He knew how the engineers translated his feedback. He knew what the car would do when a certain adjustment was made. At Ferrari, that understanding had to be rebuilt, and every mistake slowed that process. Silverstone added another layer. Hamilton received a 5-second penalty for a false start. Ferrari team principal Fred Vasseur defended him publicly. He said the team sensors did not show the car moving on the grid, even though video footage appeared to show movement of only a few millimeters. Vasseur called the decision harsh. That defense was important. It showed Ferrari protecting its driver. But it also meant another weekend had become shaped by a penalty rather than pure performance. A few millimeters. 5 seconds. Another result changed. That is the brutal mathematics of Formula One. The mistake can be tiny. The consequence is not. And Hamilton arrived in Belgium with all of that already behind him. The public frustration after Austria. The setup concerns at Silverstone. The false start penalty. The growing comparison with Leclerc. The championship pressure. Then Spa added another procedural fine before the race. Another warning. Another distraction. But the race itself made everything much worse. On the opening lap, Hamilton became involved in a collision with George Russell as the cars accelerated toward the Kemmel Straight. Russell was sent into the gravel. His race ended. Hamilton continued. The stewards judged Hamilton wholly responsible. That wording is severe. It leaves little room for argument about who caused the incident. But the penalty was reduced from a normal 10 seconds to 5 because the stewards recognized mitigating circumstances. Grip was reduced. The cars were compressed together. Opening laps create situations where drivers have less space and less time to react. That reduction mattered for the result. It did not remove the responsibility. And for Hamilton, the collision carried a painful personal dimension. Russell was not just another rival. He was Hamilton's former teammate, a driver who had shared the Mercedes garage, a driver whose career had developed beside one of the greatest champions in Formula One history. Now at Spa, their races became connected in the worst possible way. Russell was out, Hamilton was penalized, and the entire opening phase of the race became defined by contact. That incident could have damaged Hamilton's afternoon completely. Instead, the race developed in a way that kept Ferrari involved. Virtual safety car periods created strategic opportunities. The field compressed, pit windows changed, and Ferrari made an aggressive decision. During the second virtual safety car, the team brought Leclerc and Hamilton into the pits together. A double stack. That is one of the most stressful operations a pit crew can attempt. The first car arrives. The tires are changed. The car leaves. Then the second car enters almost immediately. There's almost no time to reset. Every wheel gun must be ready. Every tire must be in the correct position. Every mechanic must move without hesitation. When it works, the reward can be enormous. Both cars gain from the same interruption. The team protects track position. The strategy changes the race. Ferrari's call placed Leclerc temporarily into the effective lead ahead of Kimi Antonelli. For a moment, the decision looked brilliant. Ferrari had used the virtual safety car to transform its position. Leclerc was leading the strategic battle. Hamilton remained close enough to collect major points. The team had created an opportunity. Then the execution became dangerous. As Hamilton left the pit box, his Ferrari struck one of the team's own mechanics. The moment happened quickly. Too quickly for the public to understand everything immediately. Hamilton's radio message was blunt. He said he could not turn the car. That reaction revealed what the cockpit felt like. He had been released. The space was restricted. The mechanic remained dangerously close, and Hamilton believed the car could not move away as expected. The incident immediately changed the emotional tone of the race. A mistake involving track position is costly. A mistake involving a mechanic is frightening. Formula One pit crews work centimeters from moving cars. They stand beside exposed wheels. They trust the release system. They trust the driver. They trust the choreography. When that trust breaks for even 1 second, the danger becomes real. Ferrari then faced a post-race investigation for an unsafe release. And this is where the deeper Ferrari problem became impossible to ignore. The engine department may have improved. The strategy group may have made the right call. The pit crew may have prepared for a demanding double stack. But one dangerous release placed the result under further scrutiny. One part moved forward. Another part pulled the team backward. That is the pattern Hamilton was addressing. Not openly, not angrily, but unmistakably. He praised the engine step because it deserved praise. Ferrari had worked hard. The improvement was real. But he also said it was not the whole step. That phrase becomes much more powerful when placed beside everything else that happened. A better engine could not prevent the opening lap collision. A better engine could not erase the 5-second penalty. A better engine could not return the tires correctly after practice. A better engine could not guarantee Hamilton enough space to leave the pit box safely. Performance had improved. Execution had not improved enough. And Formula One does not reward incomplete teams. A championship car needs speed. A championship team needs control. Those are not the same thing. Ferrari could produce a competitive engine. It could create a strong strategic opportunity. It could place Leclerc into the effective lead. It could help Hamilton recover after a difficult opening lap. But every success remained vulnerable to another mistake. That is why Hamilton's public restraint should not be confused with satisfaction. He did not attack Ferrari because he still needed Ferrari. He needed the engineers to continue developing. He needed the mechanics to remain confident. He needed the strategists to keep taking intelligent risks. He needed the entire organization to believe the championship fight was still alive. A furious public criticism could have damaged those relationships. So Hamilton chose a more precise message. The team had taken one step. It needed to keep moving. That sounds supportive. It also removes every excuse. Hamilton did not say the team lacked effort. He said the effort had produced progress. Now Ferrari had to prove that progress could become consistency. That is a much harder challenge. One strong engine update can be developed in a factory. Consistency has to survive an entire weekend. Friday procedures, Saturday setup, Sunday strategy, pit lane execution, driver decisions, stewarding risks. Every part has to work. And Spa showed that Ferrari was still dropping something at almost every stage. The team paid a fine before the race. Hamilton made contact on the first lap. The stewards added 5 seconds. The pit stop created another investigation. Yet Hamilton still crossed the line fourth before any further decision. That result is important. It shows the underlying potential. Even after the mistakes, Ferrari remained near the front. That should be encouraging. It should also be terrifying, because it reveals how much more the team might have achieved with a cleaner weekend. A better opening lap could have kept Hamilton in direct contention.